I'm going to do the preview of the Baylor versus Houston football game, which will be played November 4th at 2:30 p.m. Central Time on ESPN Plus. And both teams are currently 3-5 overall. But here's the difference: Baylor's 2-3 in the conference, while Houston 1-4. And this is a team that pushed Texas, and they should have won if that game. Let's just be honest. They got hosed on the call on the third down spot after the third down play. That was a first down, and I know Daniel Holgerson for a fact, and he said this in the press conference. They would have gone for two if they would have scored a touchdown. So I'm just pointing that out. So I want to go over like offensive numbers and defensive numbers as a team, but I'll just list the players to keep an eye on. And I might as well just only go over like special teams numbers just to make it quicker. Now, offensively, they have allowed 49 tackles for loss and 19 sacks, 162 first downs, 5 interceptions, 2 fumbles, 24 pass breakouts, 19 quarterback hurries, allowed a block kick this year. 25.25 points per game, which you could round that up to 25.3 if you want. And I will put the stats in the description below so y'all can see it. 116.4 rushing yards per game. So they're not a great running team, but then again, this Baylor defense cannot stop the run. And I'm just saying that, but they have passed for 266.5 yards per game. Yeah, that's their strength. Time possession like 28 minutes, 54 seconds. 45 for 112 on third down, and 4 for 19 on fourth down. And they run like an air raid offense, so, and the 2 deep offensive line weight is like 309.8 pounds. So, obviously, Donovan Smith, number 1, a 6'5", 241-pound quarterback that's a sophomore, you have to be aware of. He can run the ball too, so you can't just assume he's going to just drop back and pass or hand the ball off. He could run it. So, I'm just saying that. Parker Jenkins, number 23, 5'11", 196-pound running back that's a freshman. Stacy Sneed, number 21, 5'11", 185-pound running back that's a sophomore. And both those guys have combined for 22 receptions on the year. So they could pass catch out of the backfield too. Or if they line up in the slot. But you get the whole point. And Tony Mathis Jr., which he's a West Virginia transfer, but he has not played a ton, apparently. I mean, he's number 24, 5'11", 208-pound running back that's a junior. Only 25 rushing attempts and 4 receptions on the year. Just to go over that brief. Now, obviously, the best wide receiver in terms of numbers is Samuel Brown, number 4. 6'2", 195-pound wide receiver. That's a sophomore. Well, I know Joseph Manjak, the 4th, had some injury thing with his hand, but he's questionable in the past. But, you know, he's still one of the better guys on the team. Number 0, 6'3", 202-pound wide receiver. That's a sophomore. Matthew Golden, number 2, 6 foot, 190-pound wide receiver. That's a sophomore. That's all 3 guys above 300 yards receiving, by the way, including a guy over 600 on the year. So, yeah, they are dangerous. I want to just see who else. I want to go right ahead and go over like Mike O'Laughlin. He is a West Virginia transfer as well. He's number 17. 6'5", 250-pound tight end that's a senior. I know he doesn't have a lot of receptions, but you get the point. I might as well go over like number 85, Dalton Carnes as well. 5'9", 175-pound wide receiver. That's a freshman too. Because he's above 100 yards receiving. That's the only reason 150 yards receiving on the year. So as you could tell, they could really throw the ball. Really good, I mean, at times. And the other tight ends like Byron's number 82, 6'6" 250 pound tight end that's a sophomore. So now defensively, they allow 32.5 points per game, 32.5 to be exact. 179 first downs on the year, which includes penalties on the first downs too, by the way. Not just passing and running, but penalties. They allow 161.6 rushing yards per game, 254.5 passing yards per game allowed too, 39 tackles for loss, 14 sacks, 7 interceptions, 4 fumble recoveries. They have 28 pass breakups and 10 quarterback hurries. I'm not sure I went over this already, but 7 interceptions on the year for the defense and 4 fumble recoveries. But if I already went over that, I apologize. Just want to make sure I cover that basis. Third down to 53 for 11 on defense and 11 for 15 on fourth. 31 minutes, 6 seconds of time possession allowed. They run like a 4-2-5. Like 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, and 5 in the secondary. The average 2 or 3 deep defensive line weight is like 282.2 and repeat that 2 for a long time. Repeating 2 right there. But at the nose tackle or defensive tackle, 2 or 3 deep is 305 pounds. But 2 deep for left defensive end or right defensive end, 253.75. So I'm just going to make that clear. Now, what are some guys that keep an eye on defense? AJ Halsey, number 24, 6 foot, 215 pound defensive back. That's a sophomore. Malik Robinson, number 8, 6 foot, 230 pound linebacker. That's a senior. Jamal Morris, number 25, 6 foot 2 inch, 225 pound linebacker. That's a junior. Mark Fleming, number 15, 5 foot 8 inch, 175 pound defensive back. That's a senior. David Agawogbu or something like that. But I'm going to spell it out. Ugwoegbu. And I apologize for butchering that name. Number 12, 6 foot 4 inch, 250 pound defensive lineman. That's a senior. Nelson Caesar, number 9, 6 foot 3 inch, 250 pound defensive lineman. That's a junior. Isaiah Hamilton, number 23, 6 foot 1 inch, 275 pound defensive back. That's a junior. Chidozie Nwankwo, Wankwo. That's how you spell the last name. The first name, Chidozie. I apologize if I butchered both of those. First name and last name. Number 10, 5 foot 11 inch, 295 pound defensive lineman. That's a junior. Brian George, number 16, 6 foot 2 inch, 200 pound defensive back. That's a senior. Anthony Brooks, number 20, 5 foot 11 inch, 200 pound defensive back. That's a senior. Hassan Heppolite, number 5 foot 11 inch, 215 pound linebacker. That's a senior. Tremarcus Cheeks, number 30, 6 foot 2 inch, 230 pound linebacker. That's a senior. Alex Hogan, number 1, 5 foot 11 inch, 190 pound defensive back. That's a senior. Jamari Caldwell, number 93, 6 foot 1 inch, 325 pound defensive lineman. That's a senior. Anthony Holmes Jr., number 18, 6 foot 2 inch, 295 pound defensive lineman. That's a freshman. Hakeem Ajolaleya, AJIJOLAYA. I apologize if I butchered that by any means. Number 92, 6 foot 2 inch, 320 pound defensive lineman. That's a junior. Zacchaeus Strong, I might as well mention him because he's more of a depth guy. Number 90, 6 foot 6 inch, 265 pound defensive lineman. That's a junior. I might as well go over like Cedric Williams as well. Number 0, 6 foot 1 inch, 285 pound defensive lineman. That's a senior. And notice, I have not included any other guys that are definitely out for the year or out for this game. Yes, I did mention Joseph Manjak the fourth, but he played through a hand injury, so I'm just pointing that out, and I'm not going to go over any more defensive linemen, guys. And y'all can check that out in the description below so y'all can see it. Now, special teams wise, the kicker is Jack Martin, number 41, 6 foot, 190-pound kicker. That's a junior, 25 for 25 on extra points, but 5 for 10 on field goals. So 1 for 1 on 20 to 29 yards, 1 for 1 on 30 to 39 yards, 3 for 6 on 40 to 49 yards, and 0 for 2 on over 50 yards. But the long is like 44. Lane Wilkins, number 41, 6 foot 200-pound punter. That's a junior. 33 punts for 1,427 yards. And the long is like 66 yards. Average like 43.24. And 12 of those punts went inside the 20-yard line, and 7 of those went over 50 yards. So, okay. Now, across the board, you got to start a lot faster. And I know it's been a problem all year, but I'm just saying, start faster. Not on offense, not just on offense, not just on defense, not just special teams, but everything. Of course, limit your penalties. That would really help. And it's not been a problem for Baylor, it seems like, in these games. It's just you got to have the concentration. If you could intercept the ball or catch a pass, you got to concentrate in making that football move. I'm just saying that. I'm just making a point. Now, special teams wise, just get that simple thing out of the way. You cannot have special teams blunders. That happened last week against Iowa State when they blocked an extra point. I'm just saying. And I know you had a bad punt, the first one. But after that, it was much better. But you get the point. You got to have good protection. You got to have good punts. You got to make field goals. And hopefully the weather is not as bad, like rainy, and compared to last week. Because that might have affected the kicking game. Yet, Iowa State they made some kicks despite all the rain on the field. But you get the point. You get the point on that. Of course, you don't want to allow big kickoff returns or punt returns. Of course, if you could get that yourself, that would be helpful. But if nothing else, call fair catch. I mean, I'm just saying, or of course, you don't want to turn the ball over on special teams at all. And if they do block the punt, extra point, don't allow them to get down to the other end and score. Okay? And the same thing goes for them trying to score a touchdown if they block the punt. But hopefully they don't do that this game. Or have a shank one. So, yeah. Now, offensively, I was very disappointed in the offensive line last week. They only got 67 rushing yards. You got to have to do better than that. And I know it's been a struggle there. And hopefully this is a game right here that you can run the ball a lot better. Like that UCF game, for example. But, something's got to give on that. And we don't know about Keyshawn Jackson right now. Tate Williams on the that's two guys on the offense. Like Tate Williams is an offensive lineman. Keyshawn Jackson is our number one wide receiver. So, and Devin Williams third on cornerback on defense. But I don't know about their status going into this game because head injuries are no joke. And I don't want to rush those guys necessarily. They got to get through concussion protocol first. Offensively, we got to take care of the ball a lot better than we did last week. Point blank. I mean, I'm telling the truth. Besides run the ball, which means you got to have your offensive line be better than this game. I'm not just talking about run blocking either. I'm talking about pass blocking. And giving Blake Shapen some time in the pocket. And hopefully Blake Shapen doesn't mess up on some of those throws, like throw it right behind them. But even if they do, throw the ball on time, of course. You got to have your wide receivers step up in this game, your other ones, and your tight ends in the passing game as well. Because No Keyshawn Jackson, no Hal Presley, and no Hal Presley for the year. You got to have other guys step up. I'm just saying that point blank in the face on that. And you got to find a way to catch the football if it's in your hands. I don't care if you're going to get hit right away. Try to find a way to catch the ball. That's what happened on the. You just don't want to get ahead of yourself. I mean, on that 2-point conversion, we had the ball in our hands, and you dropped it. It's like, come on. You cannot drop passes. I'm sorry. And I know the reason why we didn't use Richard Reese as much the last few weeks is because of the edge blocking needs to be better. Like, try to get bigger holes for him. But you get the whole point. You got to have your offensive line. You got not have your tight ends and wide receivers step up and blocking. I'm just telling the truth. Because it really would help, of course. I know we don't want penalties. That's for sure. And hopefully in this game, you have a better passing day. Hopefully you do. And this is a game where you could run the ball some. But of course, you need to make adjustments on the fly and not try to do the definition of Sandy. Do something over and over again and expect it to, that's not working and get a different result. You got to make adjustments on the fly and not just on like from game to game. I'm talking about within the game. Now defensively, you got to be better against the run. And I realize Houston is struggling with running the ball, but that's the point. I mean, Iowa State struggled against the run all year, and yet they got nearly 170 yards rushing on us. I'm just saying that point blank in the face, and you gotta have your corner. You gotta be better on the edge, with containing the edge on the outside. I'm just saying that in run defense, and you gotta have better tackling, which that has to be an emphasis in the offseason, besides the strength and conditioning on the lines. I'm just saying that point blank. Your pass defense needs to step up in this game. I mean, and I know Donovan Smith has been a turnover machine in the past, like at Texas Tech last year. I'm just saying that. I know he hasn't thrown a ton of picks this year, but you get the point. You got to get if you're gonna try to get some pass rush on him, you gotta have some integrity because the guy could run the ball. I mean, and don't be shocked if they run quarterback power on you. You got to win on first and second downs. You got to force turnovers. Of course, I forgot to mention this on offense. You try to get yourself in a third and manageable. And the defense needs to do the same thing except force third and longs. I mean, I'm just saying that. And when you get to third and longs, find a way to get off the field. Because that was really crazy that Iowa State was committing penalties on second down and got themselves third and manageable. You can't do that. And even on third and long, because of a penalty, and yet they got the first down. Come on now. We need to be better in pass defense this week. That's rule number 1. Hey, I just wish we would play more man-to-man or something. You got to make adjustments during the game, too. It's just really maddening that at times it just doesn't seem like it. And doing the definition of insanity, do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result when it's not working. You got to do something different. I mean, and try to make Donovan Smith uncomfortable in this game. Make him throw picks. And special teams wise, if you could block the punt too, it would really help without committing a penalty. And same thing goes for an extra point or even a kick. I'm just saying that. I would dare to say offensively too, if the run's not working, you got to do like some quick passes just to get yourself some yards and positive momentum, and not try to hit yourself against the wall and get third and long after back-to-back runs if it's not working. I'm just telling the truth. Or even like, I know if it gets to third and long, we pass the ball 2 times and it's incomplete. You gotta find a way to catch the football. I'm just saying that, and you got. I mean, we had some drops last week. Some of those passes were behind, which you gotta be better than that. But at the same time, if your hands on it, try to find a way to get the ball. I mean, and this is the game right here that you need to come out with urgency. You need to find a way to win against an FBS opponent for a change at home, not just for this year. And we have not beaten an FBS opponent at home since the Kansas homecoming game of last year. This is a game where you could very well potentially do that, but at the same time, Houston really pushed Texas to the limit. I don't know which Houston team is going to show up. The one from last week against Kansas State that got killed, or the one against Texas. But either way, you got to expect a war. And I'm sure they're going to try to come out more ready to go than last week. I'm just saying that because I know, and you're going to have to find a way to get, you got to come out with urgency, more urgency. You got to have better concentration. You got to execute your plays better. Not just on offense, not just on defense, but special teams. Because if you can, and of course, limit your mistakes. And on defense, don't allow anything deep. And have blown coverages or wide open guys, if possible. Because we don't want it to make it so easy on them. We need to find a way to stop the run. If we could stop the run, that would really be helpful. But I know at the same time, we got to do that more all game long and not just like a quarter or 2 quarters. You get the whole point in all this. So anyways, if you like this content, like and subscribe it. See you guys later on the road to 600 subscribers. Of course, ultimate goal is 1,000 or more, so I can make money off this. Of course, liking the video, commenting the video. We help the YouTube algorithm so more people can see it. And sharing the video as well does help so more people can see it that way. And if you're watching, I appreciate it. If you're watching and not subscribed, hit the subscribe button and then hit the notification bell as well so you don't miss any of those videos here. And you got to leave no doubt in this game. And I don't care about the officiating having questionable calls. You got to go out and make plays in all aspects of the game. Let's go.